Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on the 7th of January 2026 with the Astro Weather for the week starting today until January 13th. Yes, we've had such an intense start into the year already with geopolitical events clearly, and the effects of the supermoon are still reverberating. So I would like to review the supermoon energy in the light of the latest current events regarding especially US and Venezuela. So here is the supermoon chart again. And we see this strong polarity between the moon as a supermoon, full moon, supermoon, approaching Jupiter in Cancer in opposition with this alignment in Capricorn of Mars leading, then the Sun, then Venus, Mercury having entered at that time Capricorn as well as of January 1st. And then Pluto here in Aquarius is awaiting this whole wave of Capricorn to move over into Aquarius in the next weeks. So this polarity is one piece. The other piece is CHIRON, end of Aries, here had just also on January 2nd, the day before the supermoon turned direct, end of Aries, and being in wide square, T-square, it's not exact, but still with this supermoon axis. So what's with CHIRON? Let's start with the CHIRON factor because the United States also are at this point at the end of their fifth, I believe, CHIRON return. Yes, must be fifth since it comes every 50 years. And I'm just here looking at the chart of the United States with CHIRON at 19 degrees of Aries. 20 exact, 2009, 2009 Aries here. This is the US chart. The CHIRON currently is at 2235, so super close, right? And what you also see in the US chart is the United States have the Sun in mid-Cancer with July 14th, 1776, but also have Jupiter in Cancer just like now, and Pluto in Capricorn at the very end. So the Pluto return of the US is already technically complete as Pluto entered Aquarius here. But Pluto got widely affected and activated by this alignment in Capricorn, which is becoming clearer even for the Pluto, for the transit over the US Pluto. So that's a lot of astrological lingo here, but I wanted to show you the evidence sort of first of the astrological alignments at this point, which the January 3rd events coincided, corresponded, aligned with that attack on Venezuela, and the capture of their president, something unprecedented, I would say. I leave that to the political commentators, of course, but I would say this is something that definitely affects the axis of Capricorn Cancer. But let me go to the CHIRON effect for the US again, because Aries has to do with war and warfare. And the wounds of war, the wounds of starting wars, the wounds of how wars start. How do wars start? How does conflict start? Division, non-respect of autonomy and sovereignty, which is an Aries thing, and competition, us versus them. Even a sense of, that strong drive, of course, right? It's a very masculine energy ruled by Mars, Aries is. And hence we have to look at the Mars factor with the supermoon effect. Mars has been very strongly here activated in Capricorn, where it's the strongest, and aligned with the Sun, only passed by the Sun on what is that exactly this week? On Friday the 9th. and Mars has led, right? Mars has been in front, then fueled and energized by the Sun and Venus. So all this Capricorn energy, of course, has to do with governments, with military, with rule of law, with also with resources, with taking advantage of a certain situation, even exploiting it, and of course also with using resources, finding resources, being resourceful, but also exploiting resources. So everything about time and resources is really critical for Capricorn, and the timing of things. And so that has really come out very strongly. And then government versus people, and the land and homes and so on. This is the Cancer factor. And homeland security is a dynamic of Cancer Capricorn, just mentioning as a side note, as one expression, right? There's always many expressions. There's more enlightened expressions, clearly higher vibrational ones, but I just want to give some comments on this event with the astrological lens. Since I was also asked in a video discussion, there was this question around the astrological factor, and I commented that. And so the Cancer side. What's with the Cancer side? The US has their sun with July 4th in mid-Cancer, exactly where the supermoon was, and so does Venezuela. Venezuela was founded on the 5th of July, 1811, and also with the supermoon activating its country chart. Isn't that something? So the center of Cancer, where the supermoon happened, where US and Venezuela have the sun, has a Scorpio undertone. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So the scorpionic factor is, of course, like undercurrents, what's going on under the surface, behind the scenes, and also, yeah, it's like deeply psychological. So what are the what's the psychology behind us, right? What's the strategy even behind us? And how can the Cancer Capricorn effect can be also like we are claiming more of that land because it's ours, because we need the resources, because all these arguments that actually violate people's sovereignty clearly, and then sometimes there's cover-ups, right? So I want to say a few words also about the outgoing Pisces age, because now we have Saturn and Neptune at the very end of Pisces. Both enter finally fully Aries. Neptune on January 26th, that's in 19 days, and Saturn on February 13th. And then they line up on the very first degree of Aries when Saturn passes Neptune. And why is this such a big deal? It's Pisces Aries dynamic. The Pisces age of the last 2,100 years has been very much characterized by religions, by, of course, spirituality as well, but also a lot by codependencies, by addictions, by drugs of all sorts. And yeah, and so often the drugs have been a main motivator or for things for people, and also at the same time has been also just as religion have been also a pretext. Like look at the colonization. It was often about resources and religion. The evangelization has been often a yeah, important a spiritual hijack to also get people on board, but often a pretext, right? So religions and have really worked into the pockets of those who wanted to actually get at the resources of planet Earth and various countries. So we have a bit of reflection of that here, right? Can you see that? So yeah, brainwashing and money laundering is also a Piscean factor, just saying. And yeah, so this polarity has clearly acted out this way. In the meantime, we always have the invitation and opportunity to express the energies differently and also give it a different, give it different energy rather than feeding into what's happening out there and what are those in charge, empowered doing again, which in fact is a projection of the Capricorn quality of leadership onto those leaders that are not in integrity, not the ones we are looking up to, or we are, the ones we're waiting for. So, yeah, then how to claim this Capricornian leadership, right? So I wrote extensively in my article and newsletter for the full moon about that. And so it is about being in our integrity and showing up with our maturity and our understanding and our common sense judgment in a good way in a situation where it could be more comfortable, more cozy, so to say, from the Cancer side, to just step back and keep watching Netflix. And no, Capricorn says, okay, this is really a important historical significant event, and in terms of the connection with Aries, it's also a precedent that there's a saying actually in German where I come from, born out of the war and Nazi Germany post-war time. Basically, it says "Wäre den Anfängen," which means like beware of the beginnings. Watch how things start and catch it early. Basically, that's the message here. So that will be also very apropos. Aries, what's happening here? This is an alert. Should be alerting. And the Capricorn side, hey, what happened historically? What's the historic context? Where is this going, right? And so, as I said, at the same time, standing up and but also being in our integrity, protecting our energy field, and being very, being well resourced in many regards, right? Which could mean being well informed, also, yeah, planning, organizing. It's very Capricornian. I had a lot of good energy for organizing and clearing and cleaning with just after the full moon, as the moon is now in Virgo, double earthy, sun in Capricorn, so much in Capricorn, and the moon in Virgo. Very good time for organizing things and looking at details and maybe fixing things. And as I said before, a really important this week is also this Capricorn alignment is shifting as Venus has passed Mars, which was just yesterday, Epiphany, and now the Sun is passing Mars on the 10th, on the 9th, which is in 2 days. And then Mars is not the one that's leading. It's been leading for the longest time, right? And Mars is a warrior energy. Of course, it connects with Chiron in Aries. And so now spirit, consciousness, and conscious integrity and the statement of uh, seeing standing in one's values, right? Standing in important values in a timely and also timeless values would be very apropos mid Capricorn, where the sun is now, and the sun, as I said, will be leading. So what's and the mid Capricorn factor, by the way, is from January 1st to 11th. And with the Taurus undertone, it actually has to do also with territory, it has to do with the land, it has to do with Mother Earth. How do we treat the land? How do we treat people of the land? How do we treat resources, right? and it has to do also with values. So how do we stand in our values rather than maximizing the stocks, right? Basically, that could be also an effect of that. Yes, the oil stocks went way up now, of course. Yeah, because it's been about oil. So how to express this differently? What are the values that we need to go by and that we would want to see in leaders? And so I think it will have consequences what happened just now, and one way or another. So definitely for the consciousness, for the awareness, for the conscious awareness of the people. This is, I think, actually good news in terms of awakening. Sadly, through these yet another series of traumatic events, but for humanity to stand, to wake up, for them, just for us all to stand up, and for really for freedom, it takes waking up to what's going on. And of course, it also is the awakening is a spiritual awakening, but it can be also a political awakening, right? Can be happening on many levels. And so the supermoon, yes. Let's move on to this week again. We have, as I said, Sun and Venus past Mars, which is good news, while at the same time they're all coming into exact opposition with Jupiter, which has not been quite the case for the supermoon, but now it's really coming more into fruition in that regard. So it is quite a polarity between our personal needs, the people, and also home, safety, and connection, and gentleness and care, in fact. And on the other hand, what needs to be done, what is timely, what has priority, what is really has the biggest impact and effect. All of that is Capricorn. Then so we got to balance these two, right? Sometimes you really want to be effective and want to get things done, but at the same time, I've noticed that lately, I also there's um, a strong draw and an invitation now to connect with people, especially from the past and from the old homeland, and all this is very Cancerian, and it's after Christmas, of course, we're catching up with each other. And so that is really important, not just the practicalities and getting the work done, but also being in connection with one another. Then we have this week, Venus will be the first to square Chiron on January 11th, followed by the Sun on the 12th and by Mars on the 13th. So then the square becomes exact. So at all, what has been sort of activated in the supermoon, now it's really rolling out with the alignments becoming more exact. So this square from then more end of Capricorn to Chiron, end of Aries, is coming exact. So this is again the dynamic between what causes and creates wounds, especially in relation to war, but also in relation to rushing, hurrying, and always being under pressure and go, 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 or a very competitive world, and the Capricorn side. So basically, what do the inner elders say to that? What really matters most at the end of the day is also the connection between the babies. The Aries is also fresh life, and then elders from the Capricorn side. And baby energy, energy of new beginnings, of freshness. This is very Aries, is very healing. So this year is very new and it's very exciting, and it can really bring in new dynamics. Sometimes it comes in a, there is conflict that evokes more change that's really needed. And may these events here in January be some of this phenomena, right? And so we also have this week. The only other factor is the moon when she is in early Sag, but that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. I will be meeting Lilith for the first actual time since Lilith has been in Sag. So Lilith entered Sag on winter solstice, the 21st of December, will be in Sag until the 14th of September. 9 months typically. And Lilith is known to be a wild woman archetype, meaning also our inner wild, rewilding ourselves, unconditioning ourselves, noticing how much of what we're expressing and how we show up and think and talk to ourselves has to do with conditioning, right? How we conditioned by society, by parents, by social situations we've been in, and who would we be without those? How can we free ourselves up from these conditions? Sag is very much about freedom. It's about the heart, being on the heart journey and moving from the heart, being in our truth and sharing our truth, right? And being passionate about that. And this is the Sag impulse here that comes out very strongly, and it will get even stronger as we enter the lunar / Chinese year of the fire horse, Yang fire horse, the red Yang fire horse. So from 17th of February on, the not the next new moon, but the following one, because it's always the second new moon after winter solstice. So Lilith and Sag and the fire horse, of course, they go well together. They compound each other's energy. It can be a very dynamic year, more fire also, and it's a 1 year as well, 2026. And then a lot of things can be launched and kicked off. Again, it all depends on what fuels the fire horse, what fuels the fire, right? And so then let's look at the moon this week. We have currently the moon still in Virgo. It's the 7th of January, and the moon will enter Libra tomorrow, the 8th, at 4:06 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this Virgo energy, Virgo moon energy, very earthy, and yeah, also it has been actually very problem focused, which is sometimes too much of a good thing, especially since the South Node is now also in Virgo, which can show up as being too much in this whole problem mode, or this just getting so busy and always so much to do, never enough time, never enough fun, right? For letting loose, always being on task. And so too much of that, and maybe too much worry as well. And so to watch for that and balance it, of course, with Pisces, which is about different vibrations. Let's bring different vibrations into it, all about all these situations that worry us. And let's bring vibration and different frequency into it as well, / music, sound, song, and dance. All of that is very Piscean, and it's very supported these days to tune in that regard, and also to adapt, to flow, to let things stream through you, not be absorbing them, right, and have them turn somewhat, toxic or whatever, or we've got a lot to process. So can you allow these things to come through you and open as the doors, the windows of the mind, of the eyes, of all our senses are opening in front. We also open doors and windows on the back, literal back of our body. We visualize and energetically open these doors to let it come through us and release it, and so on. So then the moon goes into Libra, as I said, tomorrow, the 8th in the afternoon, and we'll be in Libra all day Friday, all day Saturday, until Sunday morning or late night, 3ish a.m. So the Libra moon, of course, will be then also a half moon, a waning half moon, because the Libra squares Capricorn, and the Libra full moon, the Libra half moon will be in square with all these Capricorn factors. That will be a lot of tension, starting on Friday evening with squaring Mercury, and then on Saturday squaring also Jupiter in Cancer, so it's a T-square, and also squaring from the Capricorn side, Mars, the Sun, and Venus. Okay, so what do we need, right, is the question for the moon. What do we need is peace, harmony, justice, fairness. This will become big towards the weekend. And balance, of course. Balance is important. Things might have gotten quite extreme lately in your life or in the world. Libra says we need more culture, balance, a right relationship, negotiation, and win-win, not something raw as this warfare situation. And so Saturday could be quite a tension. Could be also a good day for actually shifts happening, because Libra is on this outlet apex of that square, of that T-square. Then we have on Sunday, and again, also want to say, like, Libra is also about choices, very important, making choices that balance really these two polarities. On one hand, it's about our, from the moon side, it's about our needs and about needs for comfort, and also being in our rhythms and cycles. That's, we're talking personal level again. And then from the Capricorn, yeah, okay, so things are timely, things need to be addressed now, although we might have pushed them and delayed and procrastinated, but it's time to do things. So Libra, it's like finding a good balance. And then the moon goes into Scorpio on Sunday morning. We'll be in Scorpio until the 13th, Tuesday evening, afternoon, evening, 3:34 p.m. Pacific. And the Scorpio moon can be is for some people in some situations a bit scary, because it calls for change, versus like Libra would be still on the fence and wondering this way, that way. Scorpio says, let's go in it and get into it, get through it, maybe also process things, right, emotionally. And it's a waning moon, though, so it's actually really great if you have any purging projects, anything that needs to be cleared and cleaned, and it could bring up issues, of course, but it's important to release and to eliminate, especially at the beginning of the year, as we're approaching the first new moon of the year on the 18th. This will be in that waning, almost dark moon phase, a wonderful time to do some clearing. Then, as I said, the moon enters Sag after that, and that completes this Astro Week. I'll see you again. You can see me, rather, on the 14th, as we go into the last week of Capricorn and approaching Aquarius, which will start on the 19th of January at 5:45 p.m. Pacific. So we're coming to that cusp, and Pluto in early Aquarius is awaiting us. So let's see what that means. I wish you a beautiful week, and may all these conflicts that are currently going on in the world serve the purpose of really catalyzing awakening. Wish you well. Bye.